Hi friend, welcome to a channel. For this week's video, I had a lot of options. Like, I have a little notepad in my phone that has like all my video ideas on it. And I'm like, I don't know what I want to do and I'm running out of time. I wanted to do a big piece on a company that I'm not going to disclose yet, but an old friend from high school recently started posting about it and then like inviting me to groups and sending me messages and things. And I was like, oh no, she's in a pyramid scheme. And so I started looking into it and I'm like, whoa, this is maybe one of the most sketchy, schemiest companies I've looked into. But one source of information that I was kind of researching in regards to this particular company was saying like, oh, it's not a pyramid scheme. And I'm like, how is this not a pyramid scheme? But Advocare just got taken down for being a pyramid scheme. You know what I'm saying? So just because the FTC hasn't dropped the hatchet on this particular company, that's pretty much the reason why people can say that it's not a pyramid scheme. But dude, I'm telling you what it is. I know you don't know what company I'm talking about, so I'll just stop talking about it. But the qualities that I thought made a company a pyramid scheme, I was starting to like second guess, you know? Because I was like, okay, I thought it was this way and now is it not, you know? So I guess that's how I found myself on this topic. So in this video, we're going to be going over what qualifies a company as a pyramid scheme based on the FTC's definition, how to spot these kind of companies, how to avoid them. Spoiler alert, it's pretty much what we all already thought. Yeah, I mean, the FTC is picking MLMs off one by one right now. We can't expect them to all be taken down at once. The FTC has to do like individual investigations on all of these. So that's why I believe that over the course of the next few years, I think we're going to see a lot of changes just because the FTC is cracking down on some of these companies. And if any of the companies that haven't been cracked down on yet want to avoid being cracked down on, then they're going to have to change some things. Anyway, if you've been on social media for more than 30 seconds, you have probably seen posts like this.
I'm looking for people who want out of their 9 to 5 to join my team instead and get financial freedom. I have 3 spots left on my team. You gotta join now.
I'm looking for models who are willing to try my company's products at a discount.
These products have changed my life and I'm ready to share this amazing opportunity with you.
If the same friend who is posting these kind of posts also posts 50 times a day, including selfies, inspirational quotes and stuff, emojis galore. Oh yeah, they're probably in an MLM/pyramid scheme. Now, I link those two together in the same sentence because there's good reason behind it. I'm gonna get so many hate comments on this video. MLM stands for multi-level marketing. You'll also hear these companies referred to as direct sales, sometimes network marketing. They come up with new stuff every day to try to confuse you. The general structure of these companies consists of 2 main priorities. 1, selling the product, and 2, recruiting people to sell the product. Emphasis on recruiting. Oftentimes when you're having conversations with these kind of people, these recruiters we'll call them, who are trying to get you to join their team, they'll tell you, oh, you don't need to recruit to make money. While that's kind of true, it's usually a minuscule amount of money that you're gonna get if you're not recruiting in these companies. The real money comes from recruiting a team underneath you, so therefore you get commissions based on how many people are underneath you, and you cannot do that without building a team. You'll get bonuses off of their purchases and off of the sales they make. This is true with every single MLM. You cannot make a substantial living, like a livable wage in an MLM, in any MLM. I don't care what people tell you, but you cannot do it if you just sell the products. Now, the problem with this is that statistically, a large amount of people who join into these companies will not make a profit or even lose money. I'll usually quote a FTC study, but I think it was done back in like the 90s. And every time I quote it, people are like, oh my God, it's so outdated, man. And by people, I mean like the Huns. But it basically says that over 99% of people who join an MLM statistically will not make money. There's a more recent one by AARP that was done in 2018 that says about 75% of people who join an MLM will not see any kind of profit, and 25%-ish will. I didn't write down the actual numbers, but it's about that ratio. So that 25% may make $1 in profit all the way up to millions. And I didn't read the whole study. It is 40 pages long, so if you want to read it, it's down below. But basically, most of the people who fall into that top 25% are probably not profiting millions of dollars. But I don't think that information is in the study, like how much the people actually made. It's just a matter of if they profited or not. I could be wrong. I don't know. Someone tell me.
Oh my God, you need to research better before you put stuff out on the internet.
Shut up, Karen. Fuck. The thing that I see wrong with this study, and I don't want to say wrong, but maybe a little less credible, is that this was done by doing surveys on people who have been involved with MLMs or who are currently involved in MLMs. And we know that brainwashing is a big part of the MLM culture, which means a lot of the information that comes out of that side of, you know, the people they surveyed, the people who are still within those companies, they may inflate the truth, stretch the truth, or just straight up lie. I believe that the actual number of people who lose money within MLMs falls in between those two statistics, the 75 and the 99, just because I've read a lot of income disclosure statements, and you see a lot of the time that the top, like the lowest rank in the company usually falls between 80 and like 95% of the entire company. So it's different with every MLM, it's different with every company. We commonly hear this misconception a lot when people are talking about MLMs versus pyramid schemes. They'll say, my company sells a product, so it's not a pyramid scheme. This is simply not true. Just in the past 6 months, as I mentioned earlier, Advocare has been shut down, and then another one called Success by Health, which I don't really know anything about, but I know it's another wellness one. Also, I have a video about the whole Advocare thing. You should watch it for more context. They've been shut down and fined by the FTC within the past 6 months, and they both had products to sell, and they were shut down for being an illegal pyramid scheme. So where do they draw the line? According to the FTC, and I'll link the article that I'm reading a lot of this from down below, if you're wondering whether or not a company presented to you is an illegal pyramid scheme, the FTC recommends analyzing the pitches that they throw at you. They'll often reel you in with earnings claims, going so far as to tell you that your life could change, you could quit your job, spend more time with your family, have financial freedom just by joining their team and selling the products. They'll rope you in with promises of free vacations and free cars. Most of the time, this is all a lie or very difficult to obtain. If you've ever read any income disclosure statement ever, you'll see that the people who are at the top ranks in these companies have a team underneath them, meaning that every single one of these people who are at the top of the company, they've been recruiting. This is where they get most of their income. This is called their downline. So you'll be encouraged to continue recruiting to be able to maintain a steady flow of income. Some of these companies even require you to keep an inventory or make a monthly purchase every single month to be able to qualify for downline commissions, bonuses, etc. According to business attorney Thomas Ritter, MLMs are legally not allowed to require you to hold an inventory as a requirement to qualify for bonuses or commissions. This is a law, and it's not up for interpretation. But we hear this kind of thing with MLMs all the time. So how are they able to bypass this? Well, MLMs are really sneaky. In most cases, they'll set up a minimum sales requirement to be able to qualify for these things. So for example, a company might tell you that you need to make 100 PV, which PV usually stands for personal volume, or sometimes they have a different acronym that basically means the same thing, where they'll say, okay, you have to make 100 PV in sales. The expectation is that those sales will be made from people outside of the company, right? But what happens a lot of the time is that people participate in what's called bonus buying. And I see this a lot every time I bring it up. People will say, oh my God, you're not allowed to do that. No one does that. Well, MLMs aren't allowed to do a lot of things, and they still do them. So here we go. But basically it means like, oh my gosh, the end of the month is in 3 days and I am nowhere near meeting my qualification. So they take matters into their own hands and they buy that product themselves. That is what bonus buying is. This happens a lot. And how do I know this? Because I personally have been in 2 MLMs and I saw it both times I was there. Gold Canyon, when I was there, it was like over a 3-month period you had to make a certain amount of sales, and that's why I was not in Gold Canyon anymore after 3 months, because I just didn't make the sale quota. But I did buy some things for myself to contribute to it, but I was just like, I'm done. I can't keep piling money into this and then hope that it gets better the next 3 months, you know? And then with Lime Life, it was kind of more like buy product to make your kit fuller so that you can throw more parties and da-da-da-da. So like you would make these purchases under the disguise that you are building a kit, but really you're making sales to meet your quota. And then the MLM themselves can't really be punished for this because they'll just say, oh, well, we didn't tell Karen she had to buy all that. She took that into her own hands and decided to do that herself. We told her she shouldn't have done that. So no matter how many MLM boss babes tell you that this does not happen, they're either ignorant to what is actually happening within their company, or they're lying. It happens all the time and it's illegal. In the end, it's very common for a recruit to end up losing their investment, not being able to keep up with the minimum sales requirement, stockpiling inventory that doesn't sell, or at the very least losing interest in trying to sell to people who they have a relationship with in their lives. because that's another thing that MLMs like to destroy is relationships and friendships. According to this article from the FTC, they say the following warning signs may point to an illegal pyramid scheme. Promoters make extravagant promises about your earning potential.
Whose business has been known to bring in 7-figure months. In just 2 short years, she built a 7-figure personal income selling Young Living essential oils using only social media.
I promise you that if you take the leap into this business, that your life will be forever changed. And then you can make a video tearing up your Medicaid review just like I just did.
You could benefit from that explosion financially.
Promoters emphasize recruiting new distributors for your sales network as a real way to make money.
Well, the only way that you're able to do that is you go out there and leverage your time and efforts by building a team, by recruiting.
You're going to be able to recruit a ton of people and make a ton of money.
Then it is easy for you to sign up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people in 1 month if you wanted to as well.
Promoters play on your emotions or use high-pressure sales tactics, maybe saying you'll lose the opportunity if you don't act now and discouraging you from taking time to study the company.
And if you are thinking about jumping in, February is such a great time. We just launched 7 brand new products.
They just offered this opportunity for emerging leaders to gain a second founders pool. So it is rare air, and it's the reason why you want to look at Monate today.
And I have one word for you: timing. It's already happening with or without you.
Now is the time to join. Now is the time to join. People are gearing up. They are purchasing their Christmas presents and they are shopping. Online sales go through the roof right now. So it is a perfect time to join this team.
Distributors buy more products than they want to use or can resell just to stay active in the company or to qualify for bonuses or other rewards.
New stuff comes out literally every day. And this was the biggest thing for me to deal with because I was only using the money that I got from my party to buy more. Well, the biggest problem with that is once you sell a bunch of jewelry, you need people to pay for it. And once they pay for it, you order more.
Today I'm going to share with you the collection that I have been growing back here. Now these are not all the essential oils that I own.
Now any of you that feel free to look up the value of any of this stuff, by all means, I'm considering actually posting in the comment section all the different oils that I have. It might just be easier if I do this. I paid for this box too. It came from doTERRA.
This all sounds very familiar, right? And all those clips that I threw in came from some of the biggest MLMs out there right now. Like, I literally just searched like Young Living, doTERRA, Paparazzi, like the big names that we all know. If this is happening in the big guys, it's happening in the small guys too. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And the FTC recommends asking yourself the following questions if you're considering joining an MLM, whether it has pyramid scheme-like tendencies or not. Do you want to be a salesperson? This is what you'll be doing once you start your new business venture. If you can't get past the idea of having to nag on your friends and your family for sales, then you definitely don't want to try your hand at an MLM. Do you have a solid sales plan? In a lot of MLMs, the product they sell can be purchased cheaper somewhere else. Color Street is a very good example of this. Also, is this product something that you can build a customer base off of? Or is it just going to be a one-time purchase and then everything's going to fall off so that you aren't constantly the one who's going to be bonus buying? What are your income goals? A lot of comments I get on my videos are from angry Huns who say, oh my god, you can't go into it thinking you're going to get rich right away. And I mean, I have to agree with that. The problem is that when you're being recruited, the pitches that they use makes it all sound very easy. Realistically, a very small percentage of people will actually start making enough money to be considered over the poverty line. And then in my opinion, this is the biggest one. Can you afford to risk the money and time? Another argument that I see Huns posting in my comment sections a lot is every business startup requires risk and investment. Again, I agree with this just to an extent though. My extent ends at MLMs because you're not starting your own business. At the very most, you're signing up to be a contractor. Not even signing up, you are paying a company to sell their products, but you're also going to be following their rules. MLM startup costs usually seem a lot less than most traditional businesses, but these startup cost numbers fail to include things that are out-of-pocket costs like party supplies, business cards, on-hand inventory, travel expenses, and more, and in the end, you are statistically unlikely to get out of the red. As a matter of fact, you have better odds of profiting from gambling at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas than being profitable in an MLM. And I'm not just making that statistic up. There's another FTC study that I will link down below that has these statistics. As a matter of fact, even more than that, a traditional pyramid scheme where there isn't a product and people are just paying in and then using those profits to pay down the new people coming in, like an investment opportunity kind of thing, you have a higher chance of profiting from that than you do from an MLM, according to this FTC study. Let that sink in. The FTC also recommends talking to current and past distributors before making a decision on whether or not the business opportunity is a good idea. I say sure, do that, but consider what each person from those different parties has to gain from talking to you. If an Arbonne consultant is in your DMs trying to get you to join, they'll probably put some sugar on top and make it sound easy and simple and da-da-da-da. They'll say anything to get you to join because they see you as a financial asset to them. Now, if you talk to someone who quit Arbonne, I think the story you're gonna get is gonna be a lot different, because instead of trying to gain something from you to gain money from you, they're gonna try to help you and convince you not to join. The motives here are very different, therefore the stories will be very different. MLM distributors are salespeople and they're trying to sell you this opportunity. So they're not gonna sit there and be like, yeah, I haven't made money, I'm still in the red, I haven't recruited anybody yet. They're not gonna tell you that, because then why would you wanna join? They have to sell it. So you have to keep all these things in mind. The last part of this article is a list of questions that the FTC suggests that you ask current and former distributors of an MLM in order to make your informed decision. So let's go through them. How long have you been in the MLM? This question is probably one that doesn't need to be inflated or sugar-coated to sway your opinion. But if the person recruiting you has only been in the company for 4 weeks, they probably are not going to offer a reliable experience or anecdotal evidence that it's a good idea. How much money did you make last year after expenses? This will almost certainly be an inflated number, coming from the current distributor anyway. Remember that their paycheck relies on recruiting you. You wouldn't want to join someone's company if they told you they haven't come out of the red yet. What were your expenses last year? A smart business owner, like a traditional business owner, would be keeping track of this. And the sad truth is that most people in MLMs just don't. They'll tell you they made $500 in profit one month, but they won't tell you that they spent $600 on expenses. Or sometimes they'll make the number sound larger by saying like, I did $2,000 in sales last month. But what you also have to remember is that they only get a commission of that. So they didn't make that $2,000. They made like a cut of it. That percentage will differ depending on which company you're researching. Have you borrowed money or used a credit card to fund your business? How much did you borrow? How much do you owe? Again, be skeptical of whatever answer your recruiter tells you. We hear a lot of, oh, I made back my investment in the first 2 weeks. This line was used on me when I joined Lime Life, and I never made that investment back. But they were telling it to every single person, and they were telling us to tell it to people that we were trying to recruit. Do you need to have recruits to make money? They're all gonna tell you no. Technically, with all these businesses, the answer is no. The real thing to consider, though, is how much money you can make without recruiting. It's usually minuscule, but what they'll tell you is you can make however much money you want to make, knowing that every person who comes into this is going to go, I want to make as much money as possible. If that's the case, you have to recruit, point blank. You're not going to get to stay home with your kids on an income of just selling the product. How many people have you recruited? How many did you recruit last year? I would hope that this would be a question that would be answered truthfully, but whatever number they give you, take into consideration of how long they've been in the company. They may also answer you with like, oh, none yet, you would be my first, but I just now decided to start doing this, when there's really no proof of that. Like, it's likely that the whole time they've been trying to recruit and they just weren't successful, but they're just telling you that this is the first time they're trying to recruit anyone. They just haven't had a bite yet, you know? Keep that in the back of your mind. How many of your recruits have left the business? Again, understand that this is something that can be easily lied about. You have no way of knowing how many people they've recruited, and even then, you have no way of knowing how many people stayed in the company. What percentage of the money you made came from selling the product to customers outside of the MLM? This is extremely important. What differs companies like Tupperware, for example, to companies like Unique is that Tupperware actually has an outside market. That market is not oversaturated. Unique, on the other hand, is battling with the whole rest of the beauty industry, and they're selling at unbelievably high prices. If you're gonna be a distributor with a company like Unique, I'm telling you right now, they'll come in here and be like, oh my god, no, she's so wrong, you don't have to do this, but listen to me here. They will expect you to replace all of your favorite makeup products with Unique products, because if you're not living the brand, no one's gonna wanna buy it from you. This leads to a large percentage of sales coming from within the company and not from outside customers. Regardless of where the sales come from, the uplines will always be making a percentage no matter what. Remember, this is a key characteristic to what qualifies a company as a pyramid scheme. Even though Unique carries products, they still have characteristics of a pyramid scheme. What percentage of the money you made, income and bonuses less your expenses, came from recruiting other distributors and selling them inventory or other items to get started? This can probably be answered truthfully either way. They'll just hit you with the, oh, I made most of my money from my team, but you totally don't have to recruit if you don't want to. You'll hear a lot of like, the product sells itself, you'll have customers, people will want to buy it, blah, blah, blah. I'm here to tell you that it is not always that simple. How much time do you spend on the business? A huge part of the MLM pitch is full-time pay for part-time work. So they'll likely give you a very small number. How much inventory did you buy from the MLM last year? Did you sell all of your inventory? There is a 70% rule that exists, and it comes from the 1979 Amway ruling. There was like a whole thing. But basically the rule is if a company requires you to keep inventory, 70% of that inventory every month has to be able to have been sold. So yeah, this is a rule that is supposed to be enforced, but it is not enforced well at all. Just know that if they have a stockpile of inventory, their MLM is most likely qualified as an illegal pyramid scheme. Okay, this was a lot of information, but the main takeaways here are the difference between MLMs and pyramid schemes is not whether or not there is inventory or product being sold. It's rather that it's an illegal pyramid scheme if you make more money from recruiting than you do from product sales. The excuse, oh my god, we have a product, so we're not an illegal pyramid scheme, is not always accurate. Many illegal pyramid schemes are still in operation because they have rules that are not well enforced, and if someone is breaking those rules, they have the consultant to fall back on. For example, the 70% rule not being fulfilled, bonus buying, not distinguishing between sales that come from outside sources or within the company, those kind of things. Do your research if you have been approached with an amazing opportunity like this. Remember that the person who is trying to recruit you will say whatever they can to get you to join because you are a financial asset to them. They will be rewarded for recruiting you and from whatever sales you make and from whatever items you buy. Bottom line, the MLM that you're being recruited for is most likely exhibiting traits of an illegal pyramid scheme. The FTC just hasn't shut them down yet because there's a lot of MLMs out there. So now that I'm touching on that though, side note, there's a new season going on right now of the Dream podcast, which you guys are always like, oh my god, you should listen to the Dream. Do you guys really think I haven't listened to the Dream? Come on! But they're in the middle of doing a second season right now. I obviously recommend listening to it. It is very good if you're anti-MLM or just want some more information on the true nature behind these companies. Anyway, in the new season, the host, I think her name is Jane Marie, she says that she was able to communicate with people from the FTC, and they confirmed that they are making a larger task force to deal with these kind of companies, these kind of claims. So it's likely, like I said earlier, like within the next few years, we may be seeing some very big changes, and a lot of that is due to Jane Marie and her work and people like us. The anti-MLM movement is growing, and we are, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're making waves, babes! Let's keep it up. Let's keep spreading the word. Let's keep educating those who may find themselves vulnerable to these kind of things. And that's pretty much all I have to say, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. I have a goal for the year of 2020 to make it to 40,000 subscribers. So if you're just like watching me all the time, can you just like throw a sub in? Because I gotta get to that goal. I know it's only February, but come on, come on. Anyway, okay, that's it. I'll smell you later. Bye.